presentation for the module Decision Making and Problem Solving. I'm Ahmed.
And I'm Aishath Abdul. The overall objective of this presentation is to determine which of the three options are most viable to electrolyte. The three options are acquiring a new modern production method for both factories, which would potentially cut costs and reduce labor cost by up to 500 staff. Establish and retail outlets in India, diversify the market to commercial industry. Electrolyte is a multinational company which produces and sells white goods. Its product line includes 10 different models of washing machines and refrigerators. It employs over 2,200 employees worldwide. Its operations are carried out in 2 large factories in Poland. It has retail outlets in Europe and Australia.
The assumptions we are using for this presentation are the company has planned to take £10 million from Lloyds Banking Group, which is in the United Kingdom, at an interest rate of 2%. The payback period of the loan is 5 years, excluding a 6-month grace period. It is assumed that there are no operations of the company in Asia so far. Currently, the company focuses only on home-based items. The estimated turnover of the company is £25 million in 2015. The third option is to diversify the target market of the company to cater for the commercial industry. These products will be targeted to the businesses in Europe and Australia. The production of these commercial appliances will be carried out in the existing factories located in Poland. They will also be used in the existing retail outlets to sell these goods.
Since it is assumed that the company is going to take £10 million, below are the financial analysis. It is estimated that the loan will be taken for 5 years with an interest of 2%. Estimated monthly payment is £175,280.66. Total payment including interest will be £10,502,214.16 in 60 months. Cost benefit analysis. The total bank loan is £10 million. Since the value of the loan will decrease in coming years, we have used present value discount rate at 2%. Therefore, the total cost of present value after 5 years will be $9.9 million. The same goes for the benefits too. For the first 2 years, expected income for the project is $3 million. The third and fourth year, sales will be at $4 million, and the last year it will be $5 million. After considering the present value discount, the total benefit is £17.8 million. Since the company is taking a loan from a UK bank, the recent decision of UK to leave EU will affect the company. The value of pound has decreased significantly for the first time since 1985. It is still unknown on when and how UK is going to implement the exit from EU, which keeps the company in reservation. Due to the Brexit decision not being implemented, there is a huge chance of the currency not being stable, as the value of currency is inconsistent. As there will be no more free trade between UK and the other EU countries, UK will be imposing withholding taxes on dividends and interests and a license fee.
For the best analysis for the option 1, we have chosen Australia and EU. Australia operates a parliamentary democracy. It maintains active, diverse international trade policy agenda. Though no wars and active conflicts are within the country, active talks are ongoing internationally. Australia has an open door policy to encourage incoming FDIs. Australian economy grew constantly for 17 years till the recent economic recession in 2008. It ranked 5th in the 2016 Economic Freedom Score with 80.3. GDP is valued at $1.1 trillion with a $46,433 GDP per capita. Economy grew 2.7% in 2015. Unemployment and inflation are kept at minimum with 6% and 2.5% respectively. $51.9 billion are identified as FDI inflow investment in 2015. Australia also scores 86.4 and 80 in trade freedom and investment freedom indexes respectively. Sales tax 10% and corporate tax 30% is levied in Australia. Free trade agreements with ASEAN, Chile, New Zealand, Singapore, Thailand and US makes the country popular to extend trade relations. 1% of the population is aged 15 to 64 with all of them literate. The purchasing power parity is measured at $39,000. Australia spends 2.2% of its GDP on research and development. Patent rights are growing at 10%. Now we are going to look at the best analysis for EU. Brexit effect and recent Italian referendum and resignation of its Prime Minister leaves the EU's governance at stake. It also often has disagreements with member countries on issues such as lending money or bailing out. Such example is Greece Pay. The EU Parliament is elected by the EU citizens. The EU Council consists of the government heads of EU states. The GDP increased at 1.5% in 2015 and is expected to fall in the next couple of years, with 1% in 2016. Investment activity rose by 3.4% in 2015 in the EU region due to the appreciation of the euro in December 2015 and downfall in the emerging markets has led to a decrease in its exports. Financial markets uncertainty and moderate declines in private sector sentiments have increased downside risks to investment. Inflation is maintained at 0.3%. UK, France. Private consumption is on the increasing trend. It increased by 1.7% in 2015. Consumption is expected to increase by 1.5% and 1.6% in 2016 and 2017 respectively. EU spends a collective 3.4% of its GDP on R&D. Recent developments in technology such as augmented reality and virtual reality along with smart appliances are in use. Hence, the EU tech funding increased over 78% in 2014. For the option 2, we have done the best analysis for India. India was in the 61.08% in the voice and accountability parameter in the 2014 and 38.94% in control of corruption. India is the largest democratic nation in the world. Strained relations with Pakistan have plagued regional stability since the 1947 partition. Recently, India discussed the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement with Sri Lanka and expects them to join by the end of this year. India has the second largest workforce in the world, exceeding 437 million people. The labor force in India is expected to grow by more than 30% in the next 20 years. India saw a growth of 7.6% in its real GDP in 2015. It is also estimated that the growth of 7.3% will be seen in 2016. India is ranked as the third largest economy by purchasing power parity after USA and China. Exports consist of 12.6% of the GDP. Exports are expected to grow by 1.6% in 2016. The current account deficit accounts to 1.9% of the GDP in 2015 and will increase to 2.1% in 2016. The inflation rate will increase from 5.9% to 6% from 2000 to 2000. The inflation rate will increase from 5.4 for people above the age of 15 is 71.2% in 2015. 65.8% is aged 15 to 64. 76% of the population are affected by poverty, earning less than $2 per day. India ranks 135th in Human Development Index and 98th in the Social Progress Index. The Indian community is subdivided into smaller regional or religious groups, leading to conflicts. The consumer expenditure per capita is $1,033 in 2015 and is expected to rise by 3.7% in 2016. India's competitiveness in IT sector has been well maintained over the years. The India is estimated to be worth $225 billion by 2020. 8% of the export accounts to technology. The number of patents registered at US Patent and Trademark Office has increased from 720 in 2009 to 3044 by 2014. 0.8% of the GDP is spent on R&D.
Now we are going to look at the SWOT analysis of the three options. Option 1. The strengths are the company is already established in Poland. It is also well established within the industry. The decision to acquire a new and modern production method would lead to reduction in costs. It will also increase efficiency, hence the profits. Poland is ranked 25th in the ease of doing business of the World Bank. Poland is the #1 producer of consumer appliances in the Europe. Now the weaknesses. High warehousing and logistic costs of transportation to Australia. The project consists of a huge sunk cost. Since Poland is not in the single currency union, exchange rate fluctuations make it an obstacle to trade in the EU. Competitive advantage in its labor cost, a gradual increase in its labor cost is present. The production of white goods are controlled by 3 firms in Poland. The economic growth will continue to exceed the EU average. It will see a gain of 3.1% in 2016, which is an opportunity for the company. As discussed previously in the presentation, the effects of Brexit will be a threat to the company. The growth of real GDP is expected to fall over the next 7 years, dropping to 2.7% by 2020. Poland has high tax rates, which will be explained further in detail in legal essay. Now option 2. India acts as a gateway to enter and penetrate the Asia-Pacific region. The Indian market has huge potential as its population is large. The labor cost in India is relatively low. The option will generate additional revenue to the company. Some of the weaknesses of option 2 are: as Indian market is unknown, it will be hard to understand the characteristics of the consumers. India levies high import duty and taxation, which will affect the cost of production as the parts will be imported to India from Poland. The poor infrastructure development in the India results in internal geographical constraints. The FDI regulations in multi-products interfere with the ownership of the establishment of the company in India. Some of the opportunities of this option are: the consumer appliances market is predicted to grow 8% per year. Private final consumption will gain 3.9% in 2016. India's economy is stable and growing at 7.6%. The market for white goods in India has been growing but remains under-penetrated. The company will face fierce competition from local producers and also imports from China and Southeast Asia. The government provides incentives to local producers, which will make the competition stronger. The increase in the popularity in online trading might pose a threat to the revenue generated from the showrooms. Now option 3. The decision to produce appliances for commercial use will result in products and market development. Because the company is already leading in production, it is expected the cost of production will be kept a minimum. Knowledge and experience in the sector will give the company competitive advantage. Some of the weaknesses of this option are: sunk cost will be huge if the investment fails. Research and development cost will be more as this is a whole new target market. The opportunities are: commercial appliance is expected to grow at 3% per year. The low-cost appliances will pose a threat to the company. Higher level of production of commercial appliances in emerging markets will be an obstacle. Export and import regulation in Australia and EU. High tax rates.
For the options 1 and options 3, we are using the same markets, EU and Australia. Therefore, the same pest analysis will be used in option 3 as well. Now we have done a market outlook for EU and Australia for the option 1. Consumer appliances industry is worth 2.6 billion globally. The market for white goods, especially washing machines and refrigerators, are forecasted to grow an average of 3% all over the world in the next 6 years. Now in this charts you can see year-on growth of per capita spending and volume growth from 2015 to 2016. Washing machines and refrigerations are shown separately. In Poland, consumer appliances market is highly oligopolistic with 3 firms controlling half of the producer volume. From the charts you can see the market share of the producers for refrigeration and washing machines. The market outlook for the option 2. Consumer appliances market grew strongly in 2016. Laundry and refrigeration is expected to grow at an average of 8% in the next 6 years. Large number of small players are present in the Indian market. The government has taken initiatives to strengthen local production in India. 14.4% of the household has washing machines and 25.6% has fridge. The appliances market accounts for more than 40% of the consumer spending in India. Front-loaded automatic machines are mainly imported, and high-end refrigerators are also imported. From the chart below, you can see the production of imports and exports for the home laundry appliances and also the refrigeration. For the option 3, we have analyzed the market of commercial appliances for the EU and Australia market. Major appliances are led by China, Poland and Turkey along with Indonesia globally. Poland and Indonesia show the highest year-on-year growth in 2016. China remains as the leader in global producer of the commercial appliances driven by its media group and higher growth. Industry is expected to grow 3% yearly. From the below charts, you can see the market value commercial appliances global producer shares for Australia and also Europe. We have prepared an HR study for the 3 options. For the option 1, the existing staff will not have the sufficient knowledge to operate new machinery. Therefore, the company should either train the existing staff or hire new staff who has the experience to operate them. The company will also need staff to maintain the new machinery. Since the company is laying off 500 employees, they should consider the pros and cons beforehand. When laying off, the most experienced employees are kept, which will motivate the other employees to work harder, and this process is more cost effective. However, there are many legal ramifications of layoffs, and the morale of the employees will decrease, which might force them to start to seek new jobs. For the option 2, as the showroom will be brand new, the company has to hire approximately 100 staff to assemble the products, manage the business, and as laborers. Labor cost is relatively cheap in India. To find employees, recruitment will be done by advertising in universities and local newspapers. The interviews will be held in India. The salaries will be structured by analyzing the salaries of other such businesses. Their other incentives will include bonuses and commissions, and the higher level staff will receive fringe benefits like company cars. All the trainings will be held on the job. Option 3. The existing 2,200 employees will be kept and an additional 100 staff are required to maintain the machineries as new machineries will be purchased for this option.
We have done a legal essay of the three options. Option 1. The standard rate of value-added tax in Poland is 23%, whereas the reduced rate is 8%. Companies are allowed to calculate its tax period according to the calendar year or the business year, whichever they prefer. Corporate income tax is at 19%, while the withholding tax on domestic payments is also 19%. Competition law, employment law, and intellectual property law are the laws mostly practiced in Poland. Option 2. On 14 September 2012, the Government of India approved opening of foreign direct investment in multi-brand retail. While the foreign ownership for multi-brand retail is 51%, for single-brand retail, 100% ownership is allowed. However, for single-brand retail, 30% of the total goods should be from India. According to Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, current account transactions are permitted but capital account are not. Now I am going to look at the tax environment of India. India has direct, indirect tax and levies on transaction. Depending on the income of the company, the corporate taxes vary from 41% to 44%. They have a dividend distribution tax of 16.995%. While their customs duty is at 28.85%, their excise duty is at 12.36%. Value-added tax ranges from 4% to 15%. However, service tax is imposed at 12.36% and withholding tax at 25%. They have a double taxation avoidance agreement. India has a tax treaty with 84 countries including EU countries and signed a bilateral investment promotion agreement with 82 countries. Since the option 1 and option 3 are based in Poland, the legal essay will be the same. Next is operational plan. For option 1, the production, assembling and packaging will be capital intensive. After production is completed, there must be warehouse until the products are sent to Australia and Europe for selling. Production process will be completed in Poland for option 2 also and shipped to India where it will be assembled. Certain amount of products will always be assembled and stored in the warehouse. The showroom will be utilized to sell the items. As option 3 and option 1 are in Poland and Australia, the same process as option 1 will be carried out here. We have decided to open retail outlets in India for the following reasons. India is a growing economy. It is also categorized as a developing country. FDI regulation in India are more favorable than in other Asian countries. Labor cost is relatively cheaper in India. The consumer appliances market in India will continue to expand 8% per year. Though the market has been growing, it remains underpenetrated. Therefore, the company has more opportunity to expand. India is an excellent location if the company decides to expand to the Asia Pacific market. After carefully evaluating the 3 available options, we have decided to go with option 2. This gives the company to grow globally and helps them penetrate untouched markets. It also helps them to come to Asia Pacific market.
The issues with the first and the third option is that the company does not get the possibility to grow their customer base and market, but evolve in the same existing market. Also, the consequences of layoffs are always a disadvantage to any company.
This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.